Hey guys, today I'm going to be painting another dragon. This one's going to be a dragon snake hybrid sort of thing. I used a reference image of a snake to get the shape and outline and movement of the body for this, and then I end up adding legs and hair onto it to make it more like a traditional Eastern dragon. So I'm just starting as usual, blocking in some color for the basic shape of the body. I'm going off of that reference image, as I said, and I'm using a very vibrant green. And then I'm going to be taking a slightly desaturated blue and painting that along the back, and as well as a line of red where that blue meets the green, following all those curves and contours. Make sure that you have the color turning with the body where it's turning. As you can see now, I'm adding in the lens, the hind lens here, and then I'm going to add in a very light blue for the fur on the top of its back, making sure that curves and turns along with the body as it turns, and doing a big poof at the end for the tail. And I'm going to be adding in a lighter green for the underbelly in stripy patterns so that it can be like a scale type of texture. Now I'm going to be taking a dark teal and detailing in all the edges and fine lines around the eyes, around all the edges of the body, and I'm going for a cartoon style for this one. I started off how I normally do with big painterly blocks, but I'm edging everything off with dark lines so that it looks more like a comic book style or something akin to that. I could do the lines first, but sometimes this seems like an easier way to get it done. Now I'm just drawing in some horns, making sure they flow really nicely with the body. And I'm adding some slight details to the body as well here, as you can see. Just little knickknacks here and there to make it look more finished. I paint this one a little bit differently than I normally do. Normally I start off big and broad and go to the finer detail all at once, all over the picture, but I kind of moved along the dragon from the head to the tail during this process. Sometimes I work different depending on what my creativity decides is the best way to do it that day. I just kind of follow what my heart decides. And as you can see, we are detailing in some of the finer strands of hair and still continuing to line out the edges of the body and those scales on the underbelly as well. I correct the belly shape a little bit there. I'm always correcting and editing as I go when I paint. Nothing's ever final. I always know I can paint over any mistakes. Now I'm going to just start drawing in the scales along the area where it meets the arm there, blending them into the side, and then I'm going to add a second red stripe here just to add a little bit more pattern to its body, all the way along the tail, and then taking that dark teal again and detailing in the sides of those ridges of the scales again. shaping the body a little, detailing in a little bit more. I'm always trying to make sure that my dark color distribution is equally placed all over my images. If you have one area very dark and contrasted, and then you leave another area kind of neutral toned and washed out, then it's not going to look like your image is complete. And I forgot to mention, as usual, I'm using my modified paint roller brush in Infinite Painter. The only thing different from the regular paint roller brush is that I removed the texture from it, and I added pressure sensitivity because that is disabled by default. Now I'm just lining in some of the scales on the arms here, making that look a little bit more detailed. And just continuing to detail along the body. Fill in some hair there. Like I said, I was going for sort of a hybrid of a snake and a dragon. That wasn't my original plan when I first started this image. I just wanted to look up pictures of snakes for references for dragons' bodies, but then I decided, ooh, wouldn't it be cool to kind of combine some of those elements together? Probably should have ended up doing a forked tongue, but I forgot about it, to be honest. But I did incorporate the scaly underbelly that the snake would use to move normally, which is kind of already on a lot of Eastern dragons anyway, so it doesn't look out of place. And then I obviously took the face shape and incorporated snake elements into that. And I think it came together really well. It almost looks a little bit like an alligator too in some ways, but I think it ended up coming out pretty neat. And I really like the sort of cartoony, sketchy style that I ended up with here. I should probably try and do some of these again. Just adding little dots and lines and holes and stuff along the body, just to make it look a little bit less smooth, just so there's some detail there. But it doesn't have to be too much. And I'm just finishing up some of the hair on the tail, making sure that looks nice and filled in. Everything from here on is just making it match the rest of the body that I've already completed. And I tried to keep everything on one layer. I think I actually did keep this all on one layer for once. That's usually my goal, but sometimes I can't do that if I have to mess around with a background element that I forgot about. But in this case, I didn't need a background, so kept it all on one. One of these days I'm going to be coming up with a video of me actually painting on a real canvas for once. I do that once in a blue moon. I also sketch on paper and do watercolor paintings, but just not anywhere near as often as digital work. So I'm thinking I might buy a couple canvases and some acrylics or something and play around and film it and see how it goes. If you guys are interested in that, you should give my channel a subscribe, and then you can see all my newest videos. And while you're at it, please make sure you hit that like button if you like what you see. I have so many of these videos coming out, and you're not going to want to miss them. So now, as you can see, I'm just finishing up his whiskers, and just got to do the one on the other side. Have it wrap behind the body and come out the other end there. And it's a little bit faded because it's in the background. And And other than that, I just have to sign it. Always make sure you sign your work. And that's about it for today, guys. Thanks for watching again. Please like and subscribe again if you like what you saw, or if you haven't already. There's definitely more to come. Bye.